Hello, this is Scott Jentz. Welcome to Sandbox Stories. Sandbox Story 9, Being Wrong. When I take personality tests, I find out that I'm driven to do things right. I typically have an exit plan even when one isn't necessary. And fortunately, I also find that I'm wired to help others. So as I work on myself, let me try to help you along the way. I want you to join me in accepting that it's okay to be wrong. But it's not good enough for us to say it, we have to live it. This is a big enough problem for me that my wife will occasionally tell me that there are times when I can't admit it. And when I realize I might be wrong, I cover it up a bit, either with a joke or trying to modify the narrative. And I'm not proud of that. I certainly don't think it's because I'm a bully or a narcissist, and it's not because I'm trying to feed an ego. My guess is that most of you who have disdain for being wrong are good people with good hearts and great intentions. We all strive to be good people. In researching the topic of admitting when wrong, I read on the website Psychology Today that the Alexander Pope quote from the 1700s, which reads, "To err is human, to forgive is divine," could read better if it were updated to say, "To err is human, to admit is divine." It turns out that there is limited research on people who have a hard time admitting when they are wrong. But one accepted construct is that it's more common for people who want to see themselves in a positive light, rather than accept their weaknesses. Ouch, but I'd admit that most of us who see ourselves in this way do want to see ourselves in a positive light. So digging into the topic more, you'll learn that admitting to be wrong isn't really about not wanting to look bad. It turns out that it's about our incredibly poor capability to admit wrongdoing, and equally bad abilities to apologize properly. Instead of developing the skill to admit mistakes and apologize fully, we develop defense mechanisms to distort the reality and make it less threatening. It's a sign of emotional fragility when you take the path of denial and attempt to change the narrative to make your wrongness seem right. Let's say you walk into the house and you forgot to fill the family car with gas, even though you were asked by your partner to do so. It slipped your mind. It happens. But when you are presented with the fact that the next driver of the car is disappointed with the needle registering on E, what do you say? Do you say, "Well, it's enough to get you where you're going," or "It's not that big of a deal," or "I'll get it tomorrow, my bad"? Experts tell us that these situations require clear, competent, compassionate apology. How about, "Oh my, I'm so sorry, it really slipped my mind. I can make time to go fill up the car myself as soon as I put down my things. I really do apologize." Now think about this. Let's say you failed to complete a process for a coworker or prepare something for a patient. Do you blame somebody else or some external matter as a form of cover-up? Do you blame a product delay on a supplier, or do you take responsibility for having chosen that supplier? Do you blame a bad attitude on your employer, or do you take responsibility for your attitude? Do you address a patient complaint by truly listening to it, or do you write off the patient as nutty or imbalanced? In any situation where you are tempted to try to explain things away, how about instead taking responsibility and providing a clear and thoughtful apology? More often than not, when you perfect this humble approach, you can successfully disarm your counterpart and gain their trust. And often you'll get a reply of, "Oh, it's okay." Does this all feel forced to some of you? Maybe. I suggest that our emotional fragility, we have to accept it and take the time to work on ourselves, because to err is human and to admit it is truly divine. The moral of the story is that at the core of human connection is empathy, compassion, and trust. But we are inherently wired to be a bit self-centered, So when you make an error and then must either change the tune or instead take responsibility and apologize, it's far more upstanding to accept that it's okay to be wrong. Admit, apologize, and grow and go on. That's how we improve our personal and business relationships above all else. Until my next Sandbox story, be great at all you do.